purpose is defined as the original reason for the existence of a thing. In other words, purpose is why a thing was made. Secondly, purpose is the reason why something was created. In other words, whatever you were born to do is why God created you. You were not born just to live a life and just die. You were born to accomplish something specifically. Matter of fact, success is making it to the end of your purpose. That is success. It's like a bird trapped in an egg. If that bird never flies, that bird is a failure. It never made it to flight. And that is what success is. Success is not just existing. Success is making it to the end of why you were born. Every banana tree, every mango tree, every apple tree is the end of the seed. And the seed is not successful until it makes it to the tree and has fruit on it. And that's what success is about. It's about fulfilling and completing your purpose in life. Time was created by God. He put you in it, but he doesn't live in it. What is time? Time is defined as an interruption in eternity. In other words, God, who lives in forever, took a little piece of forever and called it time. And then he put us in it. Time has a beginning and an end and is trapped in forever. In other words, God lives in eternity. Eternity has no measure. It has no time in it. It is timeless. Matter of fact, eternity is time without measure. So God lives in eternity, but he created time, put us in it, and then he gave us time to be lived in days and weeks and months and years. Everything is time without measure in eternity. Now watch this. We were placed in time to fulfill purpose. There's a tremendous understanding of this in the Bible. Purpose gives meaning to life and time. If you don't know your purpose in life, your life and time will have no meaning. You'll simply be frustrated and wondering, why am I here? What am I going to do? Why do I hate this job? Why am I going to the same place all the time? And you begin to be frustrated, and your frustration is taken on other people because you don't have any meaning for your life. Whenever somebody commits suicide, they usually leave a note for someone. Note normally says, I had no reason for living. That is the saddest thing in the world. But there are some people who don't commit suicide instantly. They're committing suicide slowly, like taking drugs every day, like drinking alcohol every day. It's what I call slow suicide. They can't see something more important than smoking cigarettes or drinking alcohol or taking cocaine or something. In other words, they haven't found something more important than the drug. They're committing suicide. The reason why I don't drink alcohol and I don't smoke is because I found something more important for my life that these things will interrupt with. And so I have to stop whatever stops me from fulfilling my dream. And therefore, when you have a purpose for your life, it disciplines your behavior and chooses your habits. Purpose gives life meaning. Here's another statement I thought was interesting in the book of Ecclesiastes 3, verse 1. One of my favorite verses says, to everything there is a season, and to every purpose there's a time under heaven. In other words, if you are in heaven, it's eternal, there's no time. But when you come below heaven, you now have a purpose that has been fulfilled in time. That means you were born to do something, but you ain't got forever to do it. And therefore, you are on a race between you and your grave. I always tell people my greatest motivator is death. When I think about my death, it makes me work hard. And death has been placed in my life as a timing. Matter of fact, the next verse of that chapter says, there's a time to be born and a time to die. In other words, you got to know that there's a time you're supposed to die, and you're supposed to complete your assignment before you die. And if you die before you complete your assignment, you were killed. This is why God says he gave you time to fulfill your purpose. Look at verse 10. It says, I have seen the burden God has placed upon all men. And that burden is he has made everything beautiful in this time. The word beautiful there means matured. He gives you time to fulfill and mature everything that you were created to do. In other words, whatever you were born to do, you were given the right amount of time to do it in. He also says, and the Lord also has set eternity in their hearts of every man, yet they cannot fathom what God has done from beginning to end. This is a very important statement. Let me explain what it means. It says, God took you out of eternity and put you in time. In other words, your spirit is an eternal spirit that came to this earth with an eternal purpose. But God trapped it in a body in time. That means you are literally an eternal spirit in a timed body. That's a problem. Now, look at this verse again. It also says, he has done something that you cannot fathom. And what is it? What he has done from the beginning to end. In other words, God took the beginning of your life and the end of your life and put them both in a body and put it in time. So you came to earth with your beginning and your end inside of you now. This is very important. That means your future is not ahead of you. We keep thinking we're going to our future. And that's why we keep depending on people, depending on relationship, depending on connections. But your future is not ahead of you in other people's favor. Your future is trapped inside of you, and you are carrying your own raw material. And that is why your future does not depend on your external environment. Sometimes you are with people who don't like you. That's okay, because as long as you like you, what's inside of you will bring you through. Write this down, please. The purpose for time. Very important. The value of life is not in its duration, but its donation. You are not important because of how long you live. You are important because of how effective you live. And most people are so concerned about growing old rather than being effective. The people who have impacted the world didn't live long. Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy. I mean, these people who impact the world were not old people, but they lived so effectively that we cannot erase them from history.